Hello everyone, it is July 6th, 2021. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. Mine was relatively quiet, which was nice. It was nice to have some peace and quiet for a change, minus the fireworks exploding everywhere. But anyway, I wanted to share just some quick practical advice for our common mission as Catholics and as Christians, and especially as children of Mary, which is to win over souls for Jesus and Mary, right? To point out the path to salvation to people who may not be living it or may not even know about it or see it. And especially to point out the truths to people who have fallen away from the faith. And I think that can sometimes be, in a sense, even more challenging than trying to share the faith with people who've never heard of it. So in doing this, I have started to implement something that I'm trying out here, and I think it's a good thing. And I've taken it from my Army experience. So in the Army, when we were on deployment to Iraq, after every single mission, we would come back and we would have an AAR, which was an after-action review. And in this after-action review, we would identify 3 areas of the mission that went well, and 3 areas that need to be improved upon. And if done with brutal honesty, this is a very valuable exercise to do, and it's extraordinarily helpful. So I had this idea that maybe I need to implement this in my mission to help Jesus and Mary win over souls. So I think it's natural for us, I know I fight these frustrations all the time, to just kind of write people off. I pray, I fast. Obviously, this is more practical advice. I'm not going to go over the spiritual and aspect of winning over souls. But I pray, I fast, I preach at this person, I send them videos they don't watch, I write them paragraphs in text message that they don't read. They don't see the value in what I'm saying, so I'm just going to give up. And every situation is different, obviously, and this can be hard because a lot of times these are people we love and we're worried about them. We're worried about the salvation of their souls, and we can sort of see things that maybe they can't and whatever. But what I want to say is, how many times do we take a step back and ask for that person's input? I just did it. I was like, hey, I have been trying to convince you for a year now to pray the rosary. I have been trying to convince you so my 3 rules to success, the 3 keys to success as far as I'm concerned: the rosary, confession, and the Eucharist, regular mass attendance. And that's pretty much the road to salvation, right? So if I could convince somebody to even just take a step in any one of those directions, then I feel like, maybe I'm on the right path here, or they're on the right path here. But when you try for months, years, and you get nowhere, how many times do we take a step back and say, hey, I just did this. I have been trying to convince you for over a year now to pray the rosary, to return to confession after 15 years, to return to Mass and receive the Eucharist. Where am I going wrong? And I put it on myself. I used to put it on that person, like, you're just blind, whatever, but that's not productive. If you put it on yourself, like, this is the mission I feel like God has given me, and I'm failing. Can you help me to find out where I'm going wrong? What can I do to convince the next person, to sell these 3 points to the next person? Because I failed with you, and I may continue to fail with you, but if you could give me some pointers, maybe I won't fail with the next person. And this can be done on the flip side as well. If a person, starts praying the rosary or going back to Mass, ask them, hey, what convinced you that was the right answer? What convinced you to ask me for a rosary? And then you can take this information and either apply it to a different person or apply it to, try to, apply it to that person on another topic. So say they're praying the rosary, find out what convinced them to pray the rosary, then apply that to confession and the Eucharist and whatever. Raising their kids in the faith. How many Catholics are not raising their kids in the faith? What can I do to convince you that that's the right answer? And you know what? Sometimes maybe they won't have an answer, but I guarantee you what they're going to do is they're going to think about it. And what they're used to is being told what to do, being told that this is the right thing, and maybe there's some rebellion in there and they don't want to give up their sins. But if you put it on them, I'm sorry I failed. You could even apologize. I'm sorry I failed you. Could you help me to figure out what I could do better in the future? Because this mission is important to me and it's important to God. And that's an AAR. Jesus style, I guess you can say. But I feel like if we can just break through the barriers and just have an honest conversation without emotion, just straight up lay it all out, what can I do better? Because let's face it, it's a hard task. And if you're anything like me, I have no patience. I don't understand why you can't see what I'm telling you is the right thing. Like, so I get it. Like, I am not the one. I tell Jesus all the time, I'm not the one. Like, evangelizing is not for me. I'm not the one. I have many strengths and that's not it. But that's not an excuse. The answer is to work on it. The answer is to, sometimes people, even if they're not living in a state of grace, can see things, maybe just even on a natural level, about yourself that you can't because you're so involved in it. So that's my advice today. After action reviews, figure out where you're going wrong. And you know what? Sometimes maybe they won't have valuable input, and that's all about discernment. Bring it to God. Maybe they are just too involved and blinded by their sin, and the answer is that they don't want to give up that sin. And in any case, there's nothing you can do about that. But maybe there are some little things that you can change, like maybe sharing the miracles of the rosary instead of however other way you're doing it. So that's all I got. Hope y'all have a great day. Joan of Arc Media out.